for joining me. I do appreciate you tuning in. I promise this is not turning into a true crimey ASMR channel. There's just been a lot of things happening recently in the news that I think are newsworthy, worthy of mentioning, and just bringing some light into these topics. So sit back and relax, put on your headphones, fall asleep, or listen. But I will warn you, my subject matter today is quite dark. It's very dark. It's probably the darkest video that I've ever done, and with that I would like to offer a trigger warning for anyone who may be a little PTSD'd, alright, because I'm going to talk about some very sensitive topics today. Alright, what am I going to talk about? I'm going to talk about Jocelyn Nungaray-a. I have heard it pronounced Nungaray. Do you know who Jocelyn is? Do you know who she is? Jocelyn was a little girl, a 12-year-old little girl, who recently snuck out of her home, her apartment, and she actually ran into some horrible, despicable, disgusting men. Two men. I will not say their names. I will not give them any glory. I will not give them any fame. Two men, two grown men. I believe one was 21 and one is 26. She ran into these two men, and she's no longer with us. Okay, let me give you the rundown of the story. So, Jocelyn snuck out of her house. Apparently, she wanted to go call her boyfriend. Okay, now right then and there, people want to start pointing fingers, but let's just think for a second that we live in a world where 12-year-olds have boyfriends. I'm sorry, but they do. A lot of them do. And I think even a lot of people out there who might think that their children would never do such a thing. You never know what that child's doing in school. And let me tell you, a lot of these young kids have significant others. So much so that in my state, it is now practiced and expected of us to ask everyone 13 years old and over if they would like an HIV test. Okay, so let's be realistic and just put that out there, that before we start pointing fingers at mom, let's just remember that we live in a world where many 12-year-olds, they got boyfriends. Alright, and people are a little upset because she snuck out, and what can I say? Kids sneak out. A lot of kids sneak out. I never did. Believe it or not, I just didn't have the kind of personality to sneak out. And my mother, who is watching, is a Jehovah's Witness and a psych nurse. So there was no getting by. There was no secrets, right? I would not be able reason is I grew up in a very rural area. It's very country. There's no street lights. There's nothing open. Past 8 o'clock, the local gas station is closed. There's one stoplight in town. Okay, so I'm sneaking out to go do what? Where am I gonna go? Unless I'm ready to walk a mile or two in the dark. There was no sneaking out for me, so I just didn't do it. But a lot of kids do. Okay. A lot of kids do. So unfortunately, she chose the wrong night and the wrong time. And like if she was just like 5 or 10 minutes before or after these creeps, she would never run into them. It's just timing is crazy. It's crazy. So Jocelyn snuck out of the house and she walked a pretty good distance to a local 7-Eleven where she bumped into these two goons. Now, did she know them? It's questionable. They were also staying in the same apartment complex that Jocelyn and her family lived in. So it's possible that they had seen her before or she had seen them, which is why I think she may have felt more at ease talking with these men in the 7-Eleven. She had seen them before and probably figured she could trust them. She may have even felt safer, now that unfortunately grown men are supposed to want to protect young girls, and these men did just the opposite. These men, they lured Jocelyn, they lured her under a bridge, and they kept her hostage for 2 hours, brutally took advantage of, I won't say the R word, brutally took advantage of, I'm sorry, and in the end she was strangled to death. She was R'd, S'd, and strangled to death. Over a 2-hour period, this poor girl suffered so much. The state of Texas was being very careful and deliberate. They said they would not seek the death penalty unless they knew for sure that there was a sexual assault, and just a few days ago the results came back positive. Yes, as we all knew, they did assault her brutally, and they left her in a creek, under a bridge, nude from the waist down, with her hands bound behind her back. I'm so sorry to say all this, and as I'm saying it, it's just so dark. It is just such a terrible freaking scene. But you know what? We need to know about this, and we need to be very careful. And, children, these streets will take you. We're all in such a rush to grow up and be independent, but let me tell you, it is crazy out there. It is crazy out there, y'all. They snatched this little girl up, and now she's gone. And let me tell you, people who want to blame the mother should know that the mother was actually planning on taking Jocelyn to work with her the next day so she wouldn't be home alone. She had no idea her daughter had left the house. She said in the early morning hours, the cat started going crazy. And would you believe, when she woke up and started getting ready and realized Jocelyn was not in her room, she pinged Jocelyn's phone. She pinged the phone after she touched the room and went around the apartment complex. Couldn't find her. She pinged the phone, and then she drove to the location where the phone pinged, which was the bridge that Jocelyn's body was found underneath. And when she showed up, it was an active crime scene. Caution tape, police, vans, ambulance, coroners, you name it. Now, they would not give her any information. They would not give her any information for 1 full hour. She had to wait there wondering what happened to her daughter and why wasn't she answering her phone for 1 full hour. It's just a nightmare. It's just a nightmare. For those of you wondering, Jocelyn's father is serving a lengthy prison sentence, and that's why he's not in the picture. But he was allowed to be there for her funeral. It's awful. It's awful, y'all. And there's a worst part. The worst part is that these gentlemen are in the country illegally, undocumented, whatever you want to call it, at the risk of sounding anti-immigrant, which I am not. Far from it. As a matter of fact, I think as long as everyone comes over the right way, does it legally, then by all means, please come over here and enjoy this beautiful country and all we have to offer. However, we have a lot of crazy people over here already. We have our own crazy people to deal with. We just don't hear people coming in from other countries acting crazy. We really don't. We've got our own problems, right? Seriously. So, these grown men, you know, what do we do with them? Someone asked, what do you think we should do with them? Well, I think it's time for the courts to really step up and make this a death penalty case now that we know that there was an element of sexual assault involved. Right now in the state of Texas, the age is 15. If you unalive someone that is the age of 10. It used to be 15. They changed it to 10. If you unalive someone 10 years old or younger, it's an automatic death penalty case. But Jocelyn was 12, so it is unclear at this time whether the court is going to pursue the death penalty. I'm not usually a death penalty person. I'm not like an eye for an eye death penalty, advocate. But I'm going to be honest and say that I think the courts need to step up with this one. I think the courts need to send these boys back to Venezuela in cardboard boxes to let the rest of them know what happens when you come over here and you mess with our girls and women. Because they don't respect women the way we do here in other countries, and we have to remember that. And we have to not put up with that, okay? Listen, I'm getting angry, and I apologize, but peace, love, ASMR, but this is about the death of a 12-year-old girl, and it is time we wake up. It is time we wake up. Enough is enough, okay? And the fact that these guys shouldn't have been in the country in the first place. I mean, what are we gonna say? What are we gonna say? Who can we blame? Who can we blame for this, right? That's besides the point. They shouldn't even have been it to begin with. But they came here and they brought some disrespectful ass attitudes towards women and girls with them. We don't do that in America. We don't put up with that over here. You could take that wherever you came from with that. You could take it. And the reason I'm saying this is because I have been watching so many podcasts about this. And I did not know this. But unfortunately, Venezuela is a beautiful country with beautiful people. But it has one of the highest rates of domestic violence. Women and girls are treated horrible over there, and they go missing all the time. So for these two goons to come over here and try this, not only we close our borders. It's time. It's time, guys. I'm sorry. If you might not agree with me and want to unsubscribe because I said that, and that's fine. But just know this: I'm very pro-immigration as long as it's done legally. We just can't allow this to come in. We can't allow guys like this to come in. We've got to start vetting people a little bit better because we have our own crazies here to deal with. We can't deal with anymore. We can't. We just can't. We just can't. Look who paid the price. A 12-year-old little girl who, made a stupid decision, but she did not deserve to die for it. Right? 2 hours. They tortured her for 2 hours and then strangled her and then left her, and they went home like nothing happened. Like nothing happened. Now I heard that one of them asked their boss for money, for cash, so that they could leave the country, and they got caught up in something, and the boss thought that was suspicious. I heard another story where the roommate saw their pictures on the news and left the house to call his family back in Mexico. They called the police in Texas from Mexico. His family in Mexico called the police, so I guess he didn't want the police number record on his phone or whatever the case may be, but his family called for them. I heard that's how they were caught. I'm not sure if it was one or the other or both, but I'm just so grateful they were caught. Just so grateful they were caught. So, yeah. Just me. We'll get back to the makeup. Don't worry. I've not forgotten about sweet makeup. I just felt like I needed to talk about Jocelyn, and those of you who had not heard of her, her awful story, but what a beautiful life, what a beautiful short life, well lived. It's time that we toughen up. We've got to toughen up. We've got to toughen up. Send us your best. Send us your best, not your murderers, not your thieves, not your child's unalivers, Send us those who want to come here and appreciate American values and work hard and become great members of society. I hope that doesn't make me a terrible person for saying that. But either way, it had to be said. For Jocelyn, or Josie, as her family lovingly called her. Pray for her. Pray for her mother. Pray for her aunts. Pray for her grandparents. Pray for her father. Pray for her cat. I think there was a dog too. I'm sure they're all very upset. Thank you. Thank you so much for joining me. I know it was kind of it was a heavy one today. It was a very heavy topic, but again, hopefully you're sleeping right now and you didn't hear any of the bad parts. I hope you found it, if anything, informative.